So why Thunder Jet? Why this boat? Why did I pick this boat over all the other ones that are available out there? Let's take it back to the beginning of my boating experience. This is March of 2026. I bought my first boat in June of 2022. It was a Yamaha FSH 210, so 21 foot center console twin engine Yamaha boat. It was perfect for everything I needed at the time. Just going to be in some of the local reservoirs, having fun with the kids, have them out tubing, knee boarding, that kind of thing. And wanted to get back into fishing a little bit, so it was the perfect boat. The boat, it's an SUV boat, if you will. It's good at doing everything, but not perfect at any one thing. I never had any intentions of going on any big water, just the local reservoirs. Well, that year, a few months after having the boat, my cousin and I decided it was going to be a good idea to take that boat up to Lake Erie, which that single act was probably the most financially devastating thing that I've ever done. As soon as I got up to Lake Erie, we spent a little bit of time there, absolutely fell in love with Lake Erie. So, if you have ever been on Lake Erie or any of the Great Lakes, you'll know that on a nice day, nice calm day, that water can be glass. Just perfect water. But you get a little bit of wind, or heaven forbid, you have a storm that kicks up. You can go from that flat glass to 8-10 feet waves in no time. I got caught in one storm the following year, not knowing it was coming, because when you're out on Lake Erie, you can be out of cell phone range. I didn't have any type of satellite receiver or anything like that. After that, I was like, man, I got to start working on doing something else. So I upgraded in the spring of 2025. I upgraded to a 25-foot Yamaha FSH. So that was the FSH 255 Sport E, which is a twin engine, 25-foot Yamaha center console. A little bit more aimed towards the fishing, a little bit more fishability on that boat. 25 foot. It had 500 horsepower twin engine supercharged engines. That boat would haul. That was a great boat. I went with that one because I like the Yamaha FSHs. And I watched some videos where they would go from like Miami over to Bimini across the Atlantic there in those boats. And I figured if it's good enough for that, it's good enough for Lake Erie. I'd taken it out once with my cousin and my one son and daughter, and had a good time on Lake Erie with it. Didn't have any issues or anything. My second trip up to Lake Erie, I met a gentleman who I met him there at the docks stuff. He wanted to buy the boat from me, and he offered me the right amount of money, and I sold it to him. So that was the summer of 25 is when I sold the Yamaha FSH 255. I knew I wanted to go with this style boat. It just matched what I was doing now a lot more. I wanted a heavy gauge aluminum boat, more aimed at fishing than doing the utility thing. My kids are getting older. I have one that's left here at the house. The rest of them have moved out. So I started looking at the major manufacturers of the aluminum boats, the Thunder Jet, North River, Hughes Craft, Duckworth. I was really kind of interested in the Raider boats, but I don't think that they have anything available, any dealerships available east of the Mississippi, and I'm located here in Ohio. So the only way I could even see one of these boats, one of the Raider boats, would be to fly out west there and to see one of those. And I'll travel for a good deal on a boat, but I'm not going to fly halfway across the country. Well, I guess not halfway across the country, be flying all the way across the country just to see a boat that I may or may not be interested in. I've gone to all the boat shows, talked to a lot of people at the boat docks. the boat ramps and everything about the different aluminum boats and what sizes, and talked to a lot of dealerships. And then I quickly started realizing that I didn't need that 25 or 26 foot boat that I had originally anticipated needing. Most of the time, it's just me and one or two other people on the boat. Occasionally I might have up to 6 people on the boat, but most of the time, it's just me and 2 or 3 people. And many times it's just me. And kind of realizing that if I bought a 25, 26 foot aluminum boat, I wasn't going to be able to handle that very easily by myself, trying to dock and load on the trailer and everything. And so I started looking more down to the 21, 22 foot aluminum boats. And they're still very capable. I mean, these boats are made for the Pacific Northwest. So I kind of figured that if they're made for that, they'd be good for the Great Lakes. So from there, I just really started, hammering down more on the Thunder Jets, the Hughes Craft, North River, and Duckworths. Most of these boats, they're mostly the same inside. You have 2 captain style seats and a bench seat. They're designed to sit, 6 people, 8 people on it. Then you start getting into the nitpicking stuff of, do they have, fish boxes built on the floor? What kind of storage do they have? How are they set up? But realistically, they're all pretty much the same. Talking to some of the dealers, we were pretty close a couple times. I'm just looking for that great deal. That's what I was looking for. And I just really wasn't finding it. I started looking, it was June or July there of 25, and just couldn't find that deal I was looking for. I figured, well, I'll wait till the boat shows come around, and then, they'll have the best deals. Went to a few of the boat shows. I had already planned to time off of work to go out to the Seattle Boat Show, and the Cleveland Boat Show was before that. So I went up to the Cleveland Boat Show. It's about a 3-hour drive. My wife and I had went up, and the very boat we're seeing here was sitting there and had a really good price on it. Just a little bit outside of where I needed it to be for my comfort zone. And so I talked to the salesman there, and we got to talking, and he was really more interested in what I was needing than selling me the boat. And that kind of was like, all right, well, you're more interested in making it what I need, not trying to make a sell. I kind of like that approach. So we had some discussions, a lot of boats to do in a little bit of time. So we kind of walked around some more, come back, looked at this one again, left, walked around the show some more, got some lunch, and come back to this boat again. And then finally, I'm like, man, I think this is the boat. Maybe we can start working out a deal. My wife really liked it. My wife had one thing that she really wanted was a windlass anchor. And not many of these boats come with windlass anchors. Well, this boat had that. And I know it's kind of silly. That's the one thing that she wanted. So I started talking to the salesman, and we just weren't getting to that number I needed to be at. So we walked away, and I was looking in the used market as well, looking all over the east of the Mississippi. Like I said before, I'm not afraid to drive for a deal. So the next day, we drove home that night. Like I said, we had a 3-hour drive home, and my wife and I discussed it, and we're like, we're probably not going to find a better deal. But the one thing that we did have going for this boat, unlike some of the other ones, was this is a 2024 model, brand new, and the 26 models are out now. So we know that they wanted this off their lot. There was another 2024 North River I was looking at. It was a 21 foot, this being a 22 foot. I mean, we're really not talking that much difference. But that dealership, I just couldn't, the salesman just really wasn't wanting to work. They had their number set. That was it. And I knew that there was some more wiggle room, but they just weren't willing to get near that lower number. So I called the salesman. That was in their final day of the boat show there. So the general manager and everybody was there. So kind of able to do more of a communication with everybody there. And we finally come up with a number. I was a little bit above what I wanted, but a little bit below what they wanted. So I felt like it was a fair deal. So we started working the deal. And then once we come up with the price and all the extras and minuses that we had to do to get to the price that we needed, I put the deposit down. And dealing with the dealership beyond that time frame, we had a couple weeks in there of doing some back and forth from the time that I put the deposit before I went up and signed. I started realizing that this deal was going to be more than just buying a boat. I think I found a great dealership with great employees that still care about customer service. They still care about repeat customers and what their image is to the public. So I bought this boat from Buckeye Sports Center in Huron, Ohio. They like I was just saying, the dealership they cared so much about making sure I was getting the right boat. We even went as far as they got me hooked up with some of the pro fishermen that do the walleye tournaments and stuff like that. As you can tell, I've entered a walleye tournament or two. Never won, never come close. But I just go out there and have fun with it. So they're giving me connections I didn't have before to give me tips and tricks and everything else to setting up the boat. When I went up to Buckeye Sports Center there to sign the paperwork, finalize everything, I'd gotten some quotes, but I had decided that I was going to try to do almost all of the electronics myself. And their service department worked really great. They were showing me tricks of different places to mount equipment that I hadn't even thought of. I mean, who would have known that this was a box that's up here that my VHF radio can fit in? I would have never thought of that, knowing that was a sealed up box. They don't have to worry about water intrusion on that. And then a few other things, different ways of running wires, where to hide stuff. And I was like, man, this is great. Like, they're really caring about me as a customer over. Some dealerships will try to make it as hard as possible on you, so you bring your boat into them to have that service done. Just kind of an update. I am going to take it back up and have them put the autopilot back on. That's just something I'm not real familiar with, and I'm going to entrust them with doing that, just so I know everything comes out right. But with that dealership, with the Buckeye Sports Center there, with their employees and stuff, it was just a great experience. I know I made the right move. Really, it came down to buying a Thunder Jet. Came down to the sales staff that was there. I really enjoyed kind of the communication, the camaraderie. They're all into boating as well. They're not just salespeople. They actually use the products. And that's why I went with this boat. So I hope you join me on future episodes that are coming up on us doing the installs, and then finally getting out on the lake and then enjoying this beautiful boat. Along the way, you're going to see mistakes that we've made or we're going to make. But in the end, we're all just about going out and having a good time. We're not professionals. We're about as amateur as you can get. We just have a nice platform to work off of now. So hopefully you guys join us for some more episodes. Laugh at us, praise us, give us advice. We'll take it all. Thanks.